Hello and welcome. My name is Paweł Piwosz and you are listening to Last Week in IT, the weekly podcast. Together with my fantastic co-hosts, Jakub and Jan Mazurek, we'll give you our perspectives on recent news, events, announcements and many more. And we do it in our own style. Join us and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Last Week in IT podcast. And if you have listened to our previous episode, number 3, when we talked about the SysOps DevOps report about the overall IT environment, then you probably have heard the sentence raised by Jakub about the risk that is associated with this information in the report about what is the main motivator when it comes to employees inside that report. And we left it on that cliffhanger just to actually start this topic on today's episode, just because we know that this is a very important aspect when it comes to reviewing any kind of analysis, any kind of a report, to verify the methodology behind the analysis, how those results are being collected, also to verify how much we can trust those results. So with that said, Jakub, you mentioned that there is this risk information inside that report. Could you please expand more about this?
Sure, indeed. But let me just quote one of the points from summary of this report. It is 70%. For 70% of DevOps, money is the ultimate motivator. So, in other words, we can say like this Swedish singer Maya was singing, "It's all about money." It's completely right. Pink Floyd's and ABBA probably too. When I think about potential recipients of this report, so like recruitment team, HR, leaders, and of course DevOps, ops, then I could feel a bit demotivated, especially when it comes to being a leader. Imagine a leader who needs to motivate the team of DevOps and see this report and say like, what can I do? Like money is the king. I just need more money, and that's it. And even when I think about DevOps, to be motivated, as I mentioned, because you have this psychological rule, social proof, that if you see others doing X or stating X, you can start believing that this is a good, proper way. And even if you enjoy your work, you might be asking yourself, maybe I should earn more money. Of course, you can always earn more money, but then you can just get that you enjoy your work. So I said I'm a bit skeptical about such conclusion. Why? It's strictly connected with that there is a gap between self-declaration and real action. And let me elaborate maybe a bit about this. And this is something that I want to discuss with you guys. So I won't be touching fully like motivation, rather self-declaration. So consider this: when men are asked about the size of their private part, manhood, to avoid using word penis, they tend to lie, and it's proved 10-20%. So like, do you imagine that? Like they know that they reply to some anonymous survey and they decide, let it be, I will just put a bit more. Um, so um, like believing men about their size declare, it's like trusting a fisherman about the size of the fish they caught, right? That the fish grows bigger every time the story is told. And other example, closer to IT industry. Once I was preparing for a workshop about burnout, and I came across an article that claimed 60% of workers in IT industry experience burnout. A lot, you would say, right? Extremely a lot. And the person from IT industry reading such headline could think, okay, probably there is something with me as well. Like maybe I experience burnout. And this word burnout is generally overused because like people who are demotivated, felt irritated, tired, they use as well the word burnout to describe their state. And long story short, what is the origin of this number? I checked, and there was an app for IT industry. And in this app, anonymously, people, creators ask participants, I think 10,000, 12,000 users, are they burnout at work? So that was like a self-declaration. And I would say, like, implying from self-declaration in the app that like 60% of IT workers is burnout. I think it's too much, right? And moving to field of psychology, how you when you do some kind of research studies, I will share with you some secret. If psychologists will ask you to sit and answer some questions, not always they will be interested to see your answers. Uh-huh. Surprising. Often they might be interested in your reaction time. So there is some common element when it comes to IT, right? Like reaction, like ping. You just check what is the time of reaction. Or better, let's say I'd like to measure your implicit self-esteem. So it's some unconscious evaluation of your own self-esteem. In such case, I would ask you to rate your preferences for each letter of the alphabet. And guess what? Higher preference for the letters in your own name compared to other letters is considered as an indicator of higher self-esteem. And even I think like 15 years ago, I would ask you to sign a document and measure your signature to check your self-esteem. And if you'd like to measure your stress level, I would rather not to ask you what is your stress level, Jan. I would rather check your cortisol level, because we know that this is a real indicator. So to sum up, I would say that people vote with their feet, not hands. So not always people what they state they do. And I'm wondering, like, what is your thoughts about this, especially when it comes to motivation? Um, and I would say self-declaration is like a risky indicator when it comes to motivation. I even know people who decided not to take like more money because they decided to stay in the place because of people and the environment or any other elements. So, guys, what do you think about this?
Well, I would just like to mention, and probably you will agree with me, that there are so many of those so-called psychological tests. Like, you have the 16 personalities, or you have some kind of, numerology or whatever, when you have those online quizzes that they ask you to perform the self-evaluation, right? And sometimes the problem that it is with those tests is that people who are taking those tests, they responded based on the projection how they would like to see themselves, not how they are. So it requires a really in-depth analysis and self-awareness to be able to actually look inside you and honestly answer to those kind of questions to get the real response. But when people just go to those surveys, quizzes, tests because they think it's trendy, they will just quickly go to those questions without actually even having any kind of second thought. And that can really affect the responses, and that can really affect the results.
Just to chip in, sorry, Pavel,
Nah, just do.
just do. Um, uh, it's easier. Like it doesn't cost you the whole change of changing the environment, moving to different workplace. I mean, just answering yes, I want to earn more money, right? Like just to bring some illustration, it's just like one click. And here, when you need to really change the work, it's like time consuming. You need to discuss, maybe you rearrange a bit something, and so on, so on. Sorry, Pavel, I just like
No,
I
no,
just
no. I just wanted to ask you. So, in this case, isn't that like more um, the trigger, the main trigger where you start thinking or changing? In fact, actual changing your job, right? Your workplace, because there is always some trigger, right? So something what when you can say that that's enough. I need to do something about this. So are those two connected somehow, in your opinion?
I believe that like each case is completely different.
Mhm.
It could start from money, of course, but it could end as well with money. So the trigger could be, I don't know, like a leader, a relationship with a leader or with a team, and then you will like it will start here, and then it will grow, and you will have more and more reasons to leave the place or the project, and then at the end you will say, I just did it because of money. Of course, I didn't like the team, but I wanted to change because I wanted to earn more
Mhm.
money, for instance. So I believe like each case, like there is no always truth answer for everyone and every case, and this is the risk that I see as well. Like I would, if I could kindly suggest, to add this let's say self-critique part in the report, like in the science. When you publish some article, you add as well in the part when there is a methodology that some kind of SWOT analysis, like we did this and this implied this. However, we see some gaps, and those are the gaps. So I would add this and highlight this because again, like people noticing this kind of conclusions, well, they might start thinking about the world in this way. That
Yeah, and that's a correct point, I think, because there is even a saying. The saying doesn't say that people leave company because of money, but people leave company because of their managers, right? So it's like a different aspect in that, right? So yeah, it looks like this part was completely, let's say, missed in the report because there was nothing like that. Maybe I don't know why, but I have some crazy ideas in my mind. I want to share them. But that's true. So these motivators, um,
I
you
mean,
know,
in fairness of point, sorry, but I just want to raise one important aspect that majority of our aware day we spend at work.
yep,
If you have a full-time job of 8 hours in a day, right? Uh, of course, the most important part of the day is those hours after work before you go to sleep. That's where all the life happens, right?
yep,
But those 8 hours plus transportation, if you go to the office still, really takes so much of your energy, and being in a bad environment, feeling underappreciated when it comes to the income that you receive, will greatly affect the remaining aspects of your life. So yes, money is an important indicator. However, it's not necessarily the only important factor, right? There are,
yep,
I guess, lots of other important motivators. Like the other day, I received an invitation to join a company. Well, take part in the recruitment process to a company for the salary 4 times bigger than I have at the moment in my current company. The catch was I would need to relocate permanently to Iraq. Right? So now you start to think,
mhm,
is the money really worth the effort of going there? Right? So that's why there are other aspects. And even if you will look at the Maslow's pyramids of need, right? What is on the bottom of that Maslow's pyramid? Is
hey,
it
come on,
money?
this is like ancient.
But it's still valid. If you don't have the basic safety, the basic
Uh,
security, and basic needs satisfied, you would not be more focused about those high level goals.
Okay, let's now go into this. But guys, do you know, like, just to change a bit the optic, do you know anyone, any kind of case, your friends, family members, that they decided, for instance, to stay at the place, like not this kind of like edge case, like to move completely different country, but like
mhm.
change the company, and they decided to stay because of something, even though that they could earn more money.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, definitely yes.
even know that firsthand. I mean, I was in that situation.
Yep.
I remember back in the day, about I don't know, like a year and 2 months ago, I received already a job offer, not a recruitment proposition, but a job offer, saying that we know your reputation, we know what you're capable of. Here is, you know, the amount of money also bigger than I had at that time in my company. And they said, no recruitment, just come and work for us, right?
What can be
And
better, right?
well,
Rapid
that's
talent acquisition.
that's the thing. Something was better because I decided at that time that money was not a motivator for me.
Yeah.
Right? I was just about to have a major change in my life happening. So for me, the known environment, the comfort of the working place, the project that I was doing, there was like so many other factors that
Yeah.
really greatly affected the reason for me to stay. Because at the end of the day, money, yes, it is valuable and it is important to make our life easier. And you cannot, in the world of capitalism, live without the money. However, it is not the only
There's not only
motivator,
factor. Yeah.
and this is not the only factor to convince someone to change the work. And like Pavel, like you mentioned, people join companies for opportunities, leave because of managers, right? But the working conditions that we have, the working environment, the potential opportunity for growth and development, that is also something that is very important because each and every one of us has different background. Each and every one of us has a different expectations and is in a different place with their career to know
Yes.
what will motivate them and what will drive them forward. So I think this is a very good idea to discuss for the next episode about what are the working conditions that people look forward to, what are the aspects that people look forward to, and what can motivate the people in various different environments and in various different companies. So I think with that, thank you so much for listening to our fourth episode of the Last Week in IT podcast. And I hope you did enjoy the show. And once again, feel invited to episode 5 when we'll be talking about the working conditions and work aspects that can motivate employees. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you and see you
Bye-bye.
soon. And that's it for today. This was Last Week in IT. Thank you for listening and please join us for the next episode. Follow us on social media, subscribe and comment. If you agree, disagree, or just want to say hello, we are waiting for you. Stay tuned, stay IT.